Hello, I'm Caroline Jones. Tonight, the story of 3 young Australians and their mission to save an orphaned elephant calf on the Indonesian island of Sumatra. Sumatran elephants are officially listed as critically endangered. But against all the odds, one Sumatran elephant calf has become a symbol of hope in an otherwise bleak situation. This is the story of little Bona and the 3 friends who've mobilised to rescue her. And I should mention there's an early scene that is briefly confronting.
It's a baby elephant. Have you seen her? She's just adorable. So there's just something about her that just people have connected with.
I just thought this was an amazing thing to be involved with, and I think to see the photos of Bona starving the way she is, it was just hard to say no. It was hard not to help.
When I first started with this, I knew nothing about elephants. I knew nothing. I had no idea that there was only 2,000 Sumatran elephants left in the wild. I just suddenly felt like it was our responsibility to do something.
Well, over the course of this issue with Bona, I've actually been amazed that 3 very ordinary Australians can work together to save one little animal.
We all met through Australia Zoo. I was working in the web department and Murray was working with Wildlife Warriors, and Amanda was working as the events manager.
And we always worked really well together. Everyone that worked there was really quite passionate about the cause. After I left the zoo, I actually touched base with Murray, and he was quite upset because he'd just been chatting with Amber, one of the vets from the wildlife hospital. She'd just returned from a trip to Sumatra and she'd come across a baby elephant who, in her opinion, was not very well.
In January 2012, I actually was invited to the Elephant Conservation Centre in Bengkulu, where there was a baby elephant that was rescued. Bona was found on her own in a palm oil plantation without her mother, and it was presumed that her mother and potentially the herd that her mother was with had either been poisoned or killed or scared out of the plantation. It was quite evident that she was very emotionally traumatised, and I mean, anyone who knows anything about elephants, they're incredibly intelligent animals and they get severely affected by conflict and harm that comes to them and the rest of their families.
She, at that stage, then needed to be moved to the elephant conservation camp, which, you know, it was quite a horrific experience for her.
It was quite traumatic to see a baby like her that was just so cute and innocent and, you know, calling out for her mum, being dragged through the jungle by 8 men with a rope by her ears, by her legs.
They were doing what they could to get an elephant that weighed over 150 kilos out of that situation to where it needed to be with the resources they had. But I know a lot of them were still traumatised by the fact that this poor little baby was, you know, very upset and very unhappy about being handled by people.
They brought her across the river. They tethered her to an elephant she'd never met before, one of the government elephants, so that she wouldn't wash down the stream. And then they pulled her up the hill screaming like a real baby for her mum in this really unfamiliar place with all of these weird alien peoples.
The challenge in places like Sumatra is we're seeing the rapid development and conversion of these forests come into collision with these beautiful, magnificent creatures in their wild habitats, and they're being squeezed out.
It's estimated now that 70% of the natural forest of Sumatra has been destroyed for illegal logging or for the purposes of palm oil plantations to create an oil for use throughout the rest of the world.
Palm oil is a very, very big industry there, and so many of the communities are reliant on it. It is their livelihood. It puts food on the table, puts a roof over their head. Sumatran elephants, their migration paths are something that they've passed down for hundreds, thousands of years from generation to generation, so they don't deviate from those. So if all of a sudden there's a plantation that pops up in the middle of it, they will just continue to go through that. So they will destroy a plantation in a night. So their immediate response is to get rid of what they consider a pest to their livelihood and something that's, that's going to damage their crops. So therein lies a problem with human-elephant conflict. The Bengkulu Elephant Conservation Camp was formed in 1992. So they had 19 adult elephants there when Bona arrived. Now their role is to patrol the forest, so they go out on regular patrols looking for signs of any illegal activity, poaching, encroachment, illegal logging, any coal mining, that sort of thing that may be going on. They all have mahouts with them who form a very close bond with them and have trained them throughout.
It was obviously a beautiful place. It backs onto national park, protected areas, and on one side of the river is huge palm oil plantations and the other side is this national park, so there's this massive contrast of issues going on in there, but centred right in the middle of that was little Bona, the elephant. The situation there is that the team is there to patrol the forest, so they weren't equipped to basically deal with a baby elephant. Basically, Bona was, I guess, a little elephant of skin and bones. She really had no muscle on her. It was very obvious that she was malnutritioned. She had a curvature already in her spine, and she was very thin. She had her ribs showing. She had this neck of fluid sitting underneath her neck here. She needed high protein mix. She needed to be on milk, and she needed to have some calcium in her diet, otherwise she was going to die. We're in the middle of an isolated area of Sumatra. Accessing resources is not very easy, so I came away from there feeling very helpless. I came back to Australia very disheartened and worried that I couldn't do anything for this baby elephant, feeling very sad about it, but knowing that I couldn't just let it slip by either. We need to do something ASAP. And that's when I discussed it with Murray, who is a very good friend of mine.
Can they source things locally? Or?
Yeah, I had a bit of a look around. I mean, there's soy-based milk powders that you can get there, but there's certainly no elephant milk product that you can get in Sumatra. His area of expertise is certainly raising money and raising awareness around that sort of thing.
Obviously getting that into the country will be a big problem.
So he basically took the bull by the horns, really, and embraced, I guess, the concept of what we could do to save this little elephant.
Okay, guys, so we've obviously got the campaign is getting underway. All of a sudden I had this baby elephant campaign to work on. I contacted Amanda, and then we both contacted Bruce. Then the three of us started to work on the campaign.
Yeah, I want to start setting up the website, make a bit of a home for Bona online.
Bob and Judy might give us a hand from the Bobo and Wildlife Fund. He supported us with the paddle out and it was great.
Amanda got in touch with us one day and told us a little bit about Bona.
I'm not sure where the Bobo and Wildlife Fund stand with animals that aren't Australian wildlife. I'm sure.
And that actually brought my thoughts back to Steve and the interactions that he had with the Asian elephants. And he had one particular incident with a baby elephant, which was unfortunately very sad.
This little elephant is slowly but surely losing her grip on life.
There's some footage of Steve when he was in Sumatra, and there's a very similar circumstance.
She should have her ears all out and flapping, and she should be zipping around here, bugling.
There's a baby elephant that's 18 months old. Its mum's been poisoned. It's dying. It looks exactly like Bona.
She might not see the day out, she might not see the week out, and just tears my heart out.
That was a very moving experience, and I think it showed Steve's love for all creatures around the world.
This little girl here, because if she dies, perhaps she will help the rest of them out in the wild.
I actually started to get a little bit emotional watching that video.
Maybe secure some habitat.
Not just because it was Steve, but because he knew that he may have been the last person to show that baby elephant any type of love whatsoever.
She's killing me. Poor little thing.
When Bona's situation was brought to me,
Straight away he went on air and he put his name to the story.
then these friends of mine found out that there was a really good chance that this little animal would not make it. I just changed my mind instantly and decided that, look, this is something we as caring Australians can help with.
And then all these other people came out of the woodwork and it became this, story of all these ex-colleagues that were connected to Steve.
Yeah, Wayne, one elephant at a time.
It's frustrating. I had no idea it was going to be like that, Murray.
We thought we were all good to go with the freight.
Now we've reached this roadblock. We can't get the food to Sumatra to her.
I assume with customs and whatnot you would need to send something off, not realising we've never done anything like this before. But, oh my goodness, this is crazy. There was about 20 steps that we hadn't even considered that we would need to do. There was letters from the Minister of Public Health, copies of invoices, proof of address, identities, list of ingredients in the products. And I sat there and I thought, I just wish I knew someone that just knew about this kind of stuff that we could ask and give us some advice.
Amanda's posted online of this little baby elephant over in Sumatra.
I think Team Bona was probably a little bit out of their depth in the fact that they'd never actually shipped items overseas before. I was Steve Irwin's personal assistant.
I think that she's going to need some help.
And I previously had to send items over to Arche for the Australia Zoo Tsunami Aid Project back in 2005. And I knew what a mammoth effort it was.
We'll just make sure we're checking the boxes. The list of ingredients is okay for sending.
And I thought, I've got the skills, I've got the knowledge, and between my husband and I, we've definitely got the contacts to be able to send the food supplements over to her.
Wow. Welcome to Team Bona.
Donations were trickling in. We had our sights set on 1 month. We just needed $2,000. As soon as we hit that was it. We knew that we were set. We were underway.
After how many days? 2 days?
2 and a bit days.
For us three together to see her for the first time was a very, very special moment, yeah. She was only about 100 metres from camp and she just appeared out of the darkness, a bit like a ghost. My heart was thumping to see her for the first time.
She was actually worse than I thought she was. Her condition was awful, but the thing that got to me the most was her mental condition. She was depressed. I didn't realise that an animal could be as depressed as she was.
So we're just mixing up her bottle for tonight.
First thing I wanted to do was make her up a bottle and give her a feed.
There you go. goes quite a way back.
Yeah. So giving her that first feed was the most incredible feeling ever. Just to see her guzzle it down, and it was just so good just to see those supplements getting into that little sick body of hers and see it, you know, working away. When we first arrived, we were well and truly not aware that Bona had a relationship with one of the adult elephants at the camp called Aswita. Aswita had well and truly taken on the role as Bona's mum. The only barrier that Bona had with her was that she couldn't cross the river because of the rapids. She tried and she was just too scared to get in the river, and I think that was because of the way she was brought across in the beginning.
It is really important for Bona to establish a relationship with an adult elephant, but she needs to learn all the techniques of how to use her trunk properly, what browse to select. You know, we can't teach them that. That's something they need to learn from observing other elephants. And these elephants could be together for the next 30 or 40 years. It's a very strong bond that they will form.
We started to see that she was making improvements. By the end of our trip, you know, Bona was a completely different elephant. She had energy, she was playful, she was happy, and you know, that was in 3 weeks.
Knock Brucey over.
The next step was for us to go back to Australia and raise further funds, because Bona needed a further 12 to 24 months of milk to get her through the infancy stages and to get her through to solid foods.
Save Bona here, returned from Sumatra. She's got 12 to 18 months that we've committed to helping her out with the supplements that she requires. So that's going to cost us about $2,000 a month. So we'd love your support.
All of a sudden, everybody wanted to know about us, so we were plastered, you know, on the front page of the newspaper, on TV networks. Our donations started to build, and it was at that point we just knew that you know, it was going to be okay.
We're going back to Sumatra. It's Bona's second birthday, so we've decided to make the trip back there, and it'll be the first time the three of us have been together since that whole crazy media frenzy a couple of months back. Oh, God. Bona, you're so big!
She looks huge!
She looks massive!
She looks so much bigger.
We went back to Sumatra in October of last year.
Look at her hair!
We arrived on the landing of the river again to cross like we did last time. She was actually in the water on her way across with Aswita.
Wow, that's just an awesome welcome. I haven't seen her.
So who's the
Straight
elephant
off
that
the
she's
bat.
with? That's
Aswita. So Bona and Aswita as we arrived back at camp. How awesome is that?
Having a little bath.
And there she was in the water like it was no big deal. Like she'd done it 1,000 times, confident, swinging her little trunk around.
Oh, look at her!
Hello, Bona.
Hey, Bona! It's good to see you.
And she walked up the bank and she sort of sniffed Murray and she sniffed me. And
Bona, hello, gorgeous. Oh, look at you. Look at that girl.
I went and got some bananas. She wasn't all that interested.
She's hairy.
She was a completely different elephant. Her herd is the 21 other elephants at the camp. She tests the waters every day with every one of those. She pinches food from them.
Get him, Bona.
While we were there, we saw her starting to charge at wild pigs if they came and started stealing her food.
She comes, she's running, Bruce. Watch out. Hello. Hi, Munchkin.
She became, you know, a little bit more bolshy and a little bit more pushy and just more inquisitive. She was quite the little madam, you know.
Yum. Yum, Bona. Watch out, Bona. She's so playful. Bona.
She doesn't like people following close behind her, so if someone is walking behind her within about 3 or 4 meters, She really does not like that at all, and she will actually stop.
Bona, no.
And she'll give a cheeky little look behind her like this. And that's a sign about 10 seconds time she's going to turn around and charge you.
You can wag your finger as much as you like, I don't think it's going to stop her.
In a captive elephant situation like she is in, she does need to learn her place amongst the human herd, and it's really important that she does start that training.
Let me wait for you.
Yeah?
Yes, let me come.
Like a dog. So her mahout Ijal, he's been implementing that. So Bona has about an hour's training every day.
So I think one of the biggest surprises or shocks for us when we were there was that most of the elephants' carers, the mahouts, own palm oil plantations in some way, shape or form. So palm oil is it's a very touchy subject.
It is in everything. It's in soaps, it's in food, it's in chocolates, it's in biscuits. Everything you can think of, there's some sort of palm oil in it. And it is our consumerism that is driving the need for more palm oil to be produced and distributed throughout the world.
It's very difficult, and you need to understand that just by boycotting palm oil products and things, that you're really affecting the livelihood of a lot of these people. We put a lot of effort into thinking about how to come up with solutions.
Next Wednesday.
It is a very important part of the campaign, educating the next generation about what's right on their doorstep and needs protecting, absolutely.
Those elephants are in the most dangerous situations, in these palm oil plantations that you drive through as far as the eye can see, There were 7 killed in that area that we were in alone, 7 adults. And that broke my heart because, that could have been another little Bona out there.
There are places where successful management of wild elephants and humans have occurred. So I would really hope that could happen in Sumatra. But really, for something like that to happen, the deforestation needs to basically stop.
There are solutions. Now, when we as consumers start to make our voice heard, that we don't want to be part of this problem. In fact, we want to be part of the solution. So give us confidence that when we're buying those products, they come from a place and a plantation that is being responsibly managed.
There is a roundtable of sustainable palm oil production, which is made up of a lot of the companies that actually utilise palm oil, a lot of the growers. It's still a work in progress. There's a lot of work to be done.
Straight up the hill. That's the hard way. Go on the hard way, Bona.
I think there is hope, and I think that the tide is turning. I think there is big change in the air. I think people are far more aware of what's going on in the world nowadays in relation to the environment.
It's not so much just about Bona now. At first, it was definitely we need to get this food to Bona, but it has become so much bigger, and now the Bona story is a lot bigger than we ever expected.
Everyone's arriving for Bona's birthday, in style, of course. Happy birthday to you.
We sort of guesstimated that Bona would be 2 in October, so we picked a date based on when she was found in April the year before. So we sort of said, okay, we're going to have a party. This is a milestone for her.
Honestly, it's inspiring because, we all might think that the problem is too big. I'm just one person, what can I do? Well, these people are showing what each and every one of us is capable of.
To date, we've raised close to $30,000 for her. so that will see her fed for quite some time.
Hello, Bob. G'day, Murray. Nice to see you. Come on in.
We've never taken a cent out to cover our phone bills, our flights, any of that.
Hi, Amanda.
How are you, Bob?
Oh, very, very well, thank you.
All the funds, 100% go to Bona.
How are you going with your finances and the We keep up to date with Amanda and Murray and Bruce and everything that's going on over there.
We've pretty much got what we need donations-wise for food right now.
So Steve's legacy still lives on. I just feel so proud of the fact that all those years and all that work that he did is still going on many years now since his passing.
If she could be returned to the wild, that would be the most ideal situation. All of that stuff, of course, is out of our control.
She's so good now with that trunk. Look how happy she is. She's so happy.
I honestly don't know what the future is for her. I mean, it's looking bright compared to what she did a year ago. But, you know, the future for elephants in Sumatra is grim regardless. Wild animals, captivity, there's not very many of them left. I'd really hope that Bona will live out the rest of her life there as a semi-wild elephant.
I'm looking forward to one day, you know, in 20 years' time, hopefully taking my children to Sumatra and meeting Bona and saying, that little elephant there, or that big one actually, we saved her life once upon a time and she'll live to be a wise old elephant.
Woke up and wished that I was dead, with an aching in my head. I lay motionless in bed. I thought of you and where you'd gone. Let the world spin madly on. And everything that I said I'd do, like make the world brand new, take the time for you. I just got lost and slept right through the dawn, and the world spins madly on.